Alright guys, welcome back. Glad to see you. Bath Salt's back here with another video for you. Today, we're talking top 10 tips, beginner tips that I wish I would have had when I first started playing Project Zomboid. This is definitely a video that would have helped me out getting started, would have made a couple of my playthroughs a little less painful. I'm hoping that's the case for you as well if you watch this video. I'm trying to set you guys up for success with these tips, just certain things that I've learned through playing that have really helped me out. And if you want to see more tutorials, help guides for Project Zomboid, a little plug for my other video. That's our little shack from our plumbing video. I left it there for us. This is a little reminder that that's also a video you can check out if you want to learn how to run fresh water, get plumbing set up. Check that out. I'll add a card here during this portion of the video that you can click on if you want to learn how to do plumbing. But without further ado, let's get into the top 10 beginners tips for Project Zomboid. Alright, so tip number 1 is going to be walk, don't run. This is something I wish I would have known very early on. One of the most common ways I would die in my first couple of playthroughs of Project Zomboid, I noticed a common theme. It was typically when I overextended myself, ran out of stamina, and was exerted, and I just couldn't get away. It was one of the more common ways I died. So, walk, don't run. It's very important. One of the key things you want to realize here, and we're just going to pull this horde here just as an example. My walk speed is always going to be faster than the zombies' walk speed. Stay calm, stay cool, stay collected, just walk. Take your time. I could train these guys around as long as I want. The important thing here is that I'm not sprinting, burning all of my stamina. Once I feel comfortable that I can fight these guys, I'm just going to turn around and simply start killing them. But the important thing there is that I did not panic, I walked. Let's say I'm getting nervous, I don't think I can fight them, I'm going to turn around and simply just walk away. Get some distance. Do not sprint unless it's absolutely necessary. The moment you start getting drowsied or tired or fatigued, your damage is going to drop significantly and it's going to become a much more dangerous situation. So fatigue and stamina management are extremely important. So remember, walk, don't run. If you want to get around the map quickly, you can still walk and get around the map quickly. Simply right click, hit the walk to button, and then proceed to speed up your game. You can do so with the F keys like this, or we can hit walk to and then use the arrows up here. And if you're worried that, well, what if a zombie is in near range? I don't want to walk right into my death. The game will slow you back down to normal speed once it senses a zombie in your proximity. So walk, don't run is going to be tip number 1 for you guys. Alright guys, we're back here. Tip number 2 is going to be turn on the aim outline. So that's going to give you a visual indicator when your melee weapon is in range for a successful attack. And you can get there by pausing your game, going to the options tab. We're going to just keep it on the first tab here, display. We're going to go over to the cursor section, and then the third option down is going to say aim outline. And I don't remember if generic, like just stock settings, it sets you up as either ranged weapons or none. We're going to simply choose the last option here and go to any weapon, hit apply, and then accept. That is now turned on our aim outline for any weapon. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, we're going to walk up to these zombies up here. We're actually going to disobey my first tip and we're going to sprint up, but this is just for demonstration purposes. And when this gets in range, it highlights. So I can swing at any point here and this is going to connect. This would have been a tremendous help for me early on, especially because I didn't know what the range of the weapons were. Every weapon is going to have a different range to them, so the aim outline is going to help you fight better. You're going to have less swings and misses, which is going to conserve stamina. You're going to kill zombies faster. So step 2, turn on that aim outline, get that visual indicator to help you fight a little bit better. Alright guys, tip number 3 is going to be you can slow pull larger hordes of zombies. You do not need to pull them all at once. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say this is a house I really want to loot, but I see there's a pack of zombies there, and I don't feel comfortable fighting all of them. Slowly walk up. We're ideally looking for zombies that are facing our direction. Just keep inching closer, and there we go. We've pulled 1. Let's say we want to pull 1 more. There we go. We've pulled 2. Slowly walk back, and there we go. Now we're dealing with half of the horde instead of the full amount. So I know when I first started playing, if I saw a horde like that, I simply just wouldn't go down that road, and it really made it harder for me to get my game going because I was too scared to fight large hordes like that. So take your time, inch up closely to them, and take your time slow pulling them. There's no rush. One of the things I will say with Project Zomboid is there is no ticking time bomb. You're not racing against the clock. If you're not comfortable with something, walk away, come back to it the next day, and especially when it comes to the case of fighting zombies, take your time with it and slow pull them. There's no need to fight every single zombie at once if you're not comfortable doing so. And there's another example of it right there. We just casually walked up and pulled another two zombies from the pack. Well, it looks like we had a couple stragglers too, but we essentially consolidated this one large group of zombies into three individual pulls. So take your time with it, slow pull them, and it's going to help you out significantly when it comes to clearing out larger hordes. So that's going to be tip number 3, guys. Slow pull larger hordes. Alright guys, we're now at tip number 4. Tip number 4 is going to be about base defenses, and tip 4 is that you can barricade both sides of doors or windows. So we're going to use this air pocket door here just as an example. As you can see, there's no barricade set up. I have a couple of metal sheets and a propane torch. We're going to right click on the front side of the door. We're going to hit barricade metal sheet. That's one barricade on the outside. And to get to the back side, we're going to jump this wall. Same thing, right click. We're going to do barricade metal sheet. This door has now been double barricaded. So this is going to double the health of this door and potentially get me out of a tight spot if I'm under attack. We're essentially getting an extra 1000 HP per side, if you can think about it like that. But this works with planks as well. You can do up to 4 planks per side. Give yourself some extra time, secure up your base a bit, barricade both sides. That's going to be tip number 4. Alright guys, tip number 5 is going to be the life and living channel when you first start your playthrough. So this could in theory be the best tip I could ever give you, is make sure you prioritize the life and living channel when you first start your playthrough. So for the first 9 days of your world when you spawn in, there is a channel on the television called Life and Living that's going to give you significant increases to your skills and give you a very nice head start. We're talking 2, 3, 4 levels sometimes, depending on if you have perks like Fast Learner, if you've got book buffs activated, but we're talking carpentry, cooking, fishing, trapping, and some others as well. What you're going to want to do, and this will be good from day 1 until day 9, which is July the 17th, you want to make sure you're prioritizing 6 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. in a nutshell. There are some times that the channel runs at midnight, and if you want, you can see the exact times on the wiki, but just remember, for the most part, you got 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m. During those game times, you want to head on over to the nearest television. You're going to right click on the television, device options. You're going to change the channel at the bottom to the life and living channel. You're going to turn on the television while you still have power, and then you'll hit tune in. And during those times, there's nothing else you need to do. Just be in the proximity of that television, get those XP buffs, that bonus skill points. It's going to help your playthrough out tremendously having those skills learned early on. So tip number 5, make sure you're watching the Life and Living channel your first couple of days. Alright guys, tip number 6 is utilize the speed up keys, whether it's the F keys or your speed up options here in the top right hand corner. You're going to be using those a lot, especially in single player. One of the reasons this is such a big deal for me is slow reader, apologies, slow reader is basically a free perk to me whenever I'm playing in single player. I don't care if a book takes me 10 minutes to read or an hour to read in game. Again, as I mentioned earlier, there is no race against the clock. There's no ticking time bomb. Take as much time as you need. So take slow reader and use those speed up keys. We also kind of demonstrated this in step 1 too, using the speed up keys and the walk to function. Utilizing these keys is very important. Unfortunately, this character has book buffs. I wanted to demonstrate this with a like Mechanics Volume 1 or 2. I want to use a skill book, but since he's book buffed across the board, we're just going to use a regular book here. To give you an idea, the speed is very slow with Slow Reader, as you can see. But I'm just simply going to hit F6. The book is done, and I can be about my business. This is going to save you a lot of time. Utilize the speed up key options, whether you're walking, reading a book, reading a regular skill book. It's going to save you a bunch of time. It's going to give you those free perk points by taking Slow Reader, and I think it's a great way to start off a character build. So step 6, use those speed up options. Alright guys, step 7 is going to be Drowsy, go home. The moment that you see this Drowsy icon appear on your screen, let that be an indicator for you to stop whatever it is that you're doing, start heading back to your base or to a safety spot where you can rest up and sleep without any dangers nearby. So one of the more common ways that I would tend to die is I would let the Drowsy icon just appear, not think anything of it, continue looting a building. Next thing I know, I've aggroed 20, 30 zombies. I try fighting them, my Drowsy turns into tired, and it just kind of starts to spiral from there. I get exerted, and then my character's slower, he swings slower, he does less damage. So let Drowsy, this guy right here, let that be your indicator. It's time to stop whatever you're doing and get back to safety. You can still fight while Drowsy in an emergency situation. By all means, you're still going to be able to kill things. It's going to take you longer. The problem is when you bite off a little bit more than you can chew while Drowsy, and you kind of get yourself into a no-win situation where zombies just keep coming and you just keep getting more and more tired. So step 7, you see that Drowsy icon pop up on your screen, take a chill pill, head back to your base, worry about whatever you were doing tomorrow or the next day after you've gotten a nice full rest. So Drowsy equals time to go home. Alright guys, step number 8, tip number 8 is going to be highlighting multiple objects for your inventory and inventory management. So this is something I did not know for a very long time, but you can actually select and move multiple objects between your storage and your backpack or when you're looting. So let's say I want to move everything from the bottom, from scrap electronics to strawberry seeds, into my backpack. I can left click scrap electronics and then hold the shift key, left click on strawberry seeds, and then I can simply drag them over, or I can right click and hit grab. So just to demonstrate, left click, shift, left click, grab. This is going to pull all those things into my inventory. Works the same way when I want to put it into a container. I can left click, shift left click, put in container. Hopefully that'll save you some time. When I first started playing, I would individually put items in and out of containers, and it would take me forever. I hate wasting time sorting through things. That's even why I'll take perks like Dexterous, just so I can move things in and out of my inventory quicker. But step number 8, tip number 8, highlight multiple objects for inventory management. Alright guys, step 9 is going to be utilizing the rest feature whenever there's a break in the action. So we're going to fight this little group of zombies over here. We're going to take care of them real fast. And let's just pretend, for example purposes, there's another horde of 10 zombies past there that we know we're going to wind up fighting. What you want to do, find somewhere where you can rest. You can do this in your car. You can do this in this lawn chair over here, but we're going to want to head on over here and right click rest. Even though we don't have the exerted icon showing us that we're moderately exerted, for example, we can still rest to make sure we're topped off. So we're going to click on that. Right now we need to burn a little bit more stamina, so we'll go find something else to kill really quickly, and then we'll come back to that, and I'll show you what I mean by you can top yourself off. So there we go, we got some more zombies over here. Take care of these guys. Alright. Let's see if that got us exerted enough. We'll even throw in a sprint here, which we normally, like we said in step 1, won't do. But this is for demonstration. We're heading back to our chair. We're going to right click, rest. And you can see, even though we're not exerted, our meter is filling up. So we're basically topping off our stamina, and now we can get back into the fight. So if there's ever a break in the action, make sure you're utilizing that rest option, even if the game isn't telling you that you are exerted. So this will help keep you topped off, help you stay in fights longer, help you stay out battling and looting longer. Step 9, use the rest feature. Alright guys, and the step 10 final tip I have for you is your starting location. So when you start up a new playthrough and you're trying to figure out which world or town you're going to spawn into, in my opinion, there are tiers of difficulty for each starting city. In my opinion, West Point would be the hardest city. The easiest city would be Riverside. So step or tip 10 is going to be choose to start in either Riverside or Rosewood, especially if you're new to the game or you've been struggling to live more than a couple of days. In my opinion, Riverside and Rosewood are the easiest towns to start in. Riverside is rather small. It's not too populated. It's a great way to kind of get your feet wet with the game, get used to the mechanics. That would be my first choice. If you've got a little bit more experience, but you still don't want the extreme difficulty of West Point, let's say, Rosewood, you can make a good argument for Rosewood also being a good starting location. You've got the fire department, which you can head right over to, get some good weapons and armor. It's also a good spot to base in. You've also got the police department that's right across the street. If you like to use guns, you can fill up on your guns and ammunition. So step 10, tip 10 is going to be your starting location. Spawn Riverside, spawn Rosewood, head to the fire department. Choose one of those two. You're going to have a much easier go about it than you would, say, starting in Muldra or West Point. So that's going to wrap up the tips, guys. Let me know in the comments if you guys utilize these tips already, if you try some of these tips out and they actually help you survive a bit longer. Let me know what other guides, tutorials you'd like to see. Throw in some other tips, or let me know if you want more tips from me. If you liked the video, consider hitting the thumbs up. If you really like the video, consider hitting the subscribe button. We've got a bunch of Project Zomboid content on here. We release content pretty much daily on this channel. And until the next one, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you coming by. Take care.